Chapter 10 Total Failure of Water. This time the descent was in a new gallery. Hans walked first. We had not gone 100 yards when my uncle, moving his lantern along the walls, cried, "Here are primitive rocks! Now we're going the right way! Forward!" The light from our lanterns, reflected from the small facets of quartz, shot sparkling rays at every angle. I seemed to be moving through a diamond. We saw traces of platinum and gold. At about 6 o'clock these colorful splendors almost stopped. We were within prison walls of granite. By 8 in the evening there were still no signs of water. I was horribly thirsty. My uncle strode on. He refused to stop. He was listening anxiously for the murmur of distant springs. The deadline was almost upon us. At last I fell. My uncle gazed upon me with his arms crossed. "It's all over," he raged as I closed my eyes. When I reopened my eyes, I saw my two companions sleeping in their rolls. A deep silence reigned around us. No sound could reach us through the walls, the thinnest of which were 5 miles thick. Then, in the midst of my illusions, I thought I saw Hans moving out of sight with a lamp in his hand. Was he abandoning us? But at last I heard footsteps in the dark abyss. Hans was returning. "Waden," said Hans, pointing downward. He had found evidence of water. We hurried down the passageway. In an hour we had gone 1.25 miles and descended 2,000 feet. Then I heard the sound of something running within the thick granite wall, like distant thunder. "Hans is correct," my uncle said. "That is the sound of a rushing torrent. An underground river is flowing around us." Hans examined a wall of granite to find the exact place where the torrent could be heard the loudest. He found it and selected a pickaxe. But would using it break the wall and cause a flood, or cause the earth to collapse on top of us? Our thirst was so intense that we had to chance it. The pickaxe had soon penetrated 2 feet into the granite wall. Hans had worked for more than an hour. Suddenly we heard a hiss and a jet of water spurted out against the opposite wall. Hans was almost knocked off his feet. He uttered a painful cry. "The water is boiling," I cried. "Well, let it cool," replied my uncle. The tunnel was filled with steam, while a stream was forming. Soon we had the satisfaction of swallowing our first drink. We drank without stopping. It was water high in iron and as good as any found in a spa. "It is delicious," I cried. "What a wonderful source of strength Hans had found," my uncle said. "We shall name the water after him." "Agreed," I cried. And Hansbach it was from that moment. We filled our flasks and then tried to block the hole, but the pressure was too great. We decided to allow the water to flow so that it would continue throughout the passage and we'd have a regular supply of it. "With this stream for our guide, there is no reason why we should not succeed," I said. "Ah, my boy, you agree with me now," my uncle cried, laughing. "I agree with you most heartily," I said. "Well, let us rest a while. Then we will start again," my uncle advised. The next day at 8 a.m. we started afresh. The granite tunnel, winding from side to side, led us past unexpected turns, and seemed almost to form a maze. My uncle never ceased to consult his compass to keep account of the ground gone over. He was annoyed that the road was mainly horizontal and didn't take us deeper down into the earth. On the whole, the day and the next, we made considerable way horizontally, but very little vertically. The next evening we were 30 leagues southeast of Reykjavik, and at a depth of 2.5 leagues. At our feet was a frightful abyss. My uncle was not to be daunted. He was excited by the steepness of the descent. "This will take us a long way," he cried, and without much difficulty, as the projections in the rock formed quite a staircase. Hans fastened ropes so as to guard us against accident. The descent began. This well, or abyss, was a narrow fault in the mass of the granite. We kept going down a kind of winding staircase, which seemed almost to have been made by man. We stopped every 15 minutes. We then sat down upon a fragment of rock and talked as we ate and drank from the stream. The Hansbach fell in a cascade and lost some of its volume, but there was enough to quench our thirst. 5 days later we were 7 leagues underground and had traveled 50 leagues away from Snæfell. Although we were tired, our health was perfect. My uncle checked his instruments every hour. Iceland was behind us, and we were now under the ocean. 4 days later we arrived at a vast grotto.